Hello, Ben.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl.
We haven't been in the studio together for like
For a long time.
I know. We're very excited because we are going to be doing something we haven't done really before. It's like a little 4-part mini-series. Are you excited?
It is exciting, isn't it? I feel like it's exciting.
Yeah. And it's also exciting because we're doing it with one of our recurring fave TEDxLondon speakers, Julia Shaw, Dr. Julia Shaw. The doctor's important because we're going to be talking about green crime.
Oh, very interesting.
It's based on her new book, Green Crime, and we're going to talk more about that in a bit. But before we get into that, first of all, welcome, Julia. For those of you who don't know who Julia is, first of all, just go watch all her TED Talks because they're really, really good. But also, she's a criminal psychologist at University College London. She's a regular podcast and TV host. As I've said, she's been a TED and TEDxLondon speaker, and she's author of this new book, Green Crime, Inside the Minds of the People Destroying the Planet and How to Stop Them. And before we get into the real stuff, can you just tell us what is a green crime?
Green crime is another term for environmental crime, and it is when you extract or take something out of nature or pollute, so put something into nature that you're not supposed to, and it's breaking a law. So it's not just the earth but bad. It's not just sort of general bad behavior. It's also not
crime on the planet. Yeah.
Right. It's also
bad
not
things people do.
Exactly, bad things people do, which I think people sometimes assume this book is going to be about just like everything bad in general.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I am in fact focusing on things that are crimes.
Yeah.
Not just things that we wish
Bad
would stop.
vibes. Yeah.
And I read like a little bit about your bio, but will you tell our listeners a little bit about your background that brought you to this topic and like kind of what you've worked on before?
So I'm a criminal psychologist, and I study why people do bad things. And I'm actually an expert in terms of being an expert witness for courtrooms as well, where I talk about memory. So that's my niche, my particular niche. And so I'm always interested in how people construct realities. And that's something that you'll see throughout this book as well, is that the different ways in which the narratives are controlled around who is at fault for the climate crisis and how we tell these stories about these crimes, both in terms of the perpetrators, but also in terms of what we should do about them. And so narratives is something that I'm always interested in memory and storytelling. And on the other hand, I'm interested in why are people engaging in these things that we all know at this point. No one's like, what? Things might be changing and we should be careful with pollution. Everybody knows. Even if you're like, no matter where you're on the political spectrum, there's some version of that. Even if it's just like saving your local park, you have some interest probably in a clean environment, at least where you live.
But for you personally, I guess, why climate or why green environment? What brought you to this point?
Why do I care?
You could talk about a lot. You could have written about a lot of different things. Yes. There's a lot of bad things people are doing in the world right now. A lot. And there's a lot of psychology behind like, why do AI people want to destroy our planet? You could have written about a lot of stuff. Why climate? Why environment?
Because I've always been interested in environmentalism, and I was faced with this black hole of, I don't know, my feed was just back-to-back stories of devastation and everyone doing it wrong. And the overwhelming message I think you get, or at least that I was getting, is no one's doing anything.
Yes.
And I was like, well, if no one's doing anything, first of all, why are people still committing these crimes?
Yes.
It's like, again, most people now think about, research has shown that most people think about the climate emergency at least every week. Most people think about it. Lots of people think about it every day. And so this isn't like this niche topic anymore. And yet you still have people who are like, I'm just going to burn down the rainforest and put some cattle here. And so for me, it's like that is such a mind flip where you're going, this is also like the criminals who are destroying the planet.
And still,
it's burning down your own home.
They
live here too.
It's not good for you and bad for us. It's bad for everyone.
It's bad for everybody. And so there's that was drawing me to it. And frankly, I felt surely there's some social science here that can help us to understand what's going on. But I didn't know it. And so I wanted to figure out what it is and whether we can use criminal psychology to help us to fight this.